Hello and welcome to my mini training on how to feel confident and emotionally safe in as little time as possible. Brought to you by Heal with Hina. Is this you? This training is meant for people who are anxious, depressed, or who feel that they're unheard. They experience a lot of self-doubt, a lot of negative self-talk, they question their abilities and self-worth, they regret the choices they made in the past. They're unable to forgive themselves or others, it's both ways. They are people pleasers. They become doormats. They're constantly seeking validation and approval from other people. Unable to set healthy boundaries, unable to say no to people. They feel lost, lonely, and emotionally numb. They have a lot of racing thoughts and intrusive memories. They're constantly overthinking. They're in their head all the time. So if this is you, this training is for you. So here is the problem. You're told to move on and get over it. You're told to stop overthinking. You're told to be strong and think positively. You're told to get out of the house more often or find a new hobby. You're told to be grateful and count your blessings. You're told to seek counseling or therapy, and you're afraid of being put on medications, right? So this is what happens. And you can relate. You go to therapy 4 years, but there's no practical solution being offered. You're still stuck in toxic relationships. You don't know how to get out of it. There's continuous negative stimulus. There's unforgettable past memories. You just don't know how to move on. There's frequent flashbacks and nightmares. Guilt, shame, and resentment for not being able to move on, right? You feel there's something wrong with you. You feel somehow you're responsible for it. And then there's this guilt and sense of failure and regret and doom. So this was me, and this was me a couple of years ago. I am a self-diagnosed PTSD patient myself. I know what it's like to be emotionally numb and to have a blank mind. I have sitting in a crowd, and although I'm physically present, but still not mentally present. Okay, I know how it is to be confused. I've been angry, I've been aggressive and passive aggressive. I felt ashamed of my behaviors. I felt ashamed of my past. I felt guilty. Being a doctor, I used to feel this is not for me. I used to feel I can't do this, because there was this shame associated with my past, that the people in front of me think that I'm this strong doctor and who can help them. But then somewhere inside, I did not feel deserving of that love and appreciation that I was getting, right? And that meant I had low self-esteem, frequent outbursts, again, trying to protect myself, again, try to hide my low self-esteem. I would pretend to be the strong woman. That resulted in frequent outbursts, aggression. I was hyper vigilant, over cautious, overprotective of myself, which meant there was a vulnerable little girl inside of me. I had frequent bouts of crying, and I had postpartum depression twice. And it was after my postpartum depression, the second time, that I actually went in and saw a therapist because I felt I was going crazy. So I want you to understand that it's not your fault. Your past traumas is not your fault. things happen, and they happen to all of us, abuse, childhood neglect, bullying, your parents' traumas, their traumas, their struggles, which indirectly affects us as a child, harassment, it's not your fault. Okay, the toxic environment that we lived in that created our negative mindset against ourselves. We have a negative mindset about ourselves. We create a negative mindset about our future. We create self-bashing habits. A lot of people who undergo trauma, they feel that they have to be a perfectionist, all or nothing mindset. Either they do it all and they do it very well, or they don't do it at all because they're scared. They're scared of failing. They're scared of being made a fool out of, right? Codependency, people pleasing, right? It's not your fault that you've become that way. And one of the red flags is that we never talk about these things. We think it's normal and it's okay and it's everyday struggle. Everybody goes through it and it's okay. Just brush it under the carpet, okay? And that's what we should not be doing. We need to be addressing it. And it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with us. It doesn't mean that we're going crazy. It doesn't mean that we have some chemical imbalance in our mind and that we have some mental disorder, okay? We have to allow ourselves to heal. Even if we have a scratch on our hand, if we have a cut on our knee, we have to allow it to heal. And so our traumas need time to heal. Okay. So what's the traditional healing practices that we've seen over a period of time? Number one, talk therapy. You go to a therapist and you just talk. They listen. They provide you with some substantive solution. Although it's changing now, but it's something very recent. There's a lot of new stuff that has come out: CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, NLP, EFTs, EMDRs. But majority of our therapists and psychologists are still into talk therapy. Okay. Then traditional healing practices, what happens is you go to a psychiatrist or a doctor and they diagnose you with clinical depression or a personality disorder. You have bipolar or anything, and then what happens? You label yourself. You think, okay, so because I have this mental health illness, I have this mental disorder, so this is the way I am. That's it. I can't change, right? And so this idea that just because you have clinical depression, or just because you have bipolar, or just because you have a personality disorder, does not mean that you cannot change your behaviors, or you do not have control over your mind, your thoughts, and your behaviors. You do. You still do. If you want to, you can. And naturally, this is something that happened with me when I went to see my therapist, and it happened to me twice, and even as a child, as once when I was a teenager, and my mother took me to a therapist because of some things that had happened in my past. The therapist, sometimes they unintentionally passed judgments or say stuff that increases our guilt or shame. They unknowingly make you feel as if it's our fault, or there's something wrong with us, and when that happened to me, I remember as a 15, 16-year-old, when I went in and my therapist, he was a guy, and he passed a comment, something, and I never went back, right? So this is something you have to be very mindful of. This is something that the therapists and coaches need to be very mindful of. We all have our journeys. And then the next thing is they leave you further annoyed, triggered, and activated. All right, which is that you go into therapy, you go in smiling, and they talk to you for an hour. They activate you. They trigger you. Now your emotions are high. You've become angry or upset or emotional or whatever. And then they say, oh, your 1 hour is over. Time to leave. Goodbye. And so you went in smiling and you leave upset. And now you're upset for the whole week. And so this is something that I am very mindful of. And that's why my sessions are from 60 to 90 minutes, because I allow my clients to come back to their normal mood, to their normal phase before I let them go. So what's the other way? Let's redefine healing. If we don't want to go to these traditional healing practices, what's the other way? Therapy versus coaching. And in my case, I use specialized NLP techniques. So NLP techniques are future-oriented, outcome-oriented, solution-based. It doesn't matter whether you have a diagnosis or not. It doesn't matter whether you're bipolar or not, okay? Because I'm working with your specific symptoms. So if you're coming with overthinking, I'm working with that. If you're coming with frequent bouts of crying, I'm working with that. If you're coming with low self-esteem, I'm working with that, okay? And it doesn't matter what your diagnosis is, okay? And then it's sensory-based. And I talked about this a little yesterday also. So NLP stands for Neurolinguistic Programming. And it's actually it's a methodology. It's that we make you go through. It's an experience, okay? We make sure that all of your 5 senses, which is your hearing, your vision, your touch sensation, your smell, and your taste, all of them, we engage all of them, okay? And so I noticed a pattern in the last 2 years working with my clients from different backgrounds, both men and women, that most of the trauma survivors, they exhibit low self-confidence, which is lots of self-doubt and negative self-talk, and they are emotionally insecure. They feel vulnerable, threatened, and are triggered easily. They are people pleasers. And that's why they are people pleasers, because they are insecure. Okay. So today I want to make a case, and which is that you don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to feel ashamed of needing support. You don't have to do it all alone. And I can teach you multiple different ways to overcome self-doubt and feel emotionally secure. So my NLP experience has been that I was able to master the art of self-compassion and forgiveness. Using NLP techniques, I was able to create self-awareness, to catch myself before my high-intensity meltdowns. I was able to control my mood swings. I was able to create new habits, learn to handle difficult situations, learned to communicate effectively, and I was able to learn to live in the present, in the now. So here is what I'm going to cover today, the training that we're going to do. We're going to be doing 3 shifts, okay? Number 1, overcome low self-confidence. Number 2, shift 2 will be overcoming perfectionist mindset, which is the all or none mindset. And number 3 is overcoming intrusive thoughts and memories, okay? Let me know in the comments, which shift would you be most interested in? Although I will be covering all 3 of them today, but which is the one that you feel you are most aligned with, or which is the one that you need the most today? All right. So I am Hina Fatma, a self-diagnosed PTSD patient, a foreign medical graduate from Pakistan, not able to pursue residency in US because of interfering depression and PTSD symptoms. I am an NLP master practitioner from NLP CA, a trauma coach who has helped over 50 clients in the last 2 years, both men and women. And I will be teaching you NLP techniques that have helped me and my clients overcome fear, guilt, and resentment that holds them back. So I can trace all my pivotal moments and successes in last 2 years. Shift 1, overcoming low self-confidence. Did you know you could stop the negative self-talk by reframing the story or the narrative that you tell yourself? You know, what is the self-talk that we're doing? I'm not good enough. I can't do this. What if people make fun of me? What if I fail? You know, I'm not a good mom. I'm not a good teacher. I'm not a good daughter. You know, all these things that we're telling ourselves. I'm not a good wife. You know, the negative self-bashing that we do. They're stories. And you can actually change these stories. Did you know you could model other people who have reached their stage of excellence? Yes. There are other people out there just like you, with similar struggles, similar backgrounds, but they have reached stage of excellence. And here again, I talk about excellence. I don't talk about perfectionism. I don't talk about they've reached the height of perfection, because there is no perfection. And I'm going to talk about that later on. Okay. But they're doing well in their life. People just like you and me. How did they do it? If they could do it, we could do it too. So we can model these people. They are our role models. Did you know you have all the resources, or can find the resources within you or outside to get the outcome you desire? A lot of times we think we can't do it because we don't have the resources, or we don't have the time, we don't have the money, we don't have the energy, our circumstances don't allow us, we don't get the permission. Well, we all have the same time, money, we all are making money, nobody gets free money, time, energy, it's all the same for us. We're all humans, So we have to find those resources. We have to build those resources. It doesn't come to you on a plate, right? You have to learn the skills, right? And we have them, they're there. It's just a matter of finding them and utilizing them. And these resources can be within us, and these resources can be outside. Sometimes it's just our internal fears that's holding us back. Sometimes it's just our own limiting beliefs that's holding us back, and that's our internal resources that we need to dig in and get them out. Okay. Did you know that there are specific doable processes that you can implement to overcome phobias, which is fear, internal conflict, and low motivation? Yes, there are NLP techniques that actually help you overcome phobia, internal conflict, when you're thinking whether I should do this or whether I should do that, you can't decide, okay? And low motivation. Okay, so what does everybody think about self-confidence? They think that you have to be an extrovert, right? You have to be an outgoing person. Only an outgoing person who can make friends and who's not scared of meeting and talking his heart out is a confident person. No. An introvert person, a shy person, a person who talks less can be confident as well. Okay. People think that you have to be an expert in your field to be confident. Okay. I need to know my stuff 100% accurately. If I don't, if I make a mistake, if I fumble, my self-confidence goes down. So a confident person is a person who's an expert in their field. No, not necessarily. You have to be fearless and courageous to be confident. you have never been bullied or harassed. Why do people think that? Why is that an assumption? Because we think people who are confident, they can take care of themselves. They can fight back. You know, they know how to deal with difficult situations. So if somebody comes and tries to harass them or bully them, they can take care of themselves. That's who our idea of confident people are. And that's not true. Confident people can be bullied and harassed as well. And then what we think is you have everything figured out. The people who are confident, they know it all. They have everything figured out. Their life is just perfect. That's what we think. Okay. And what was my breakthrough? My breakthrough is that confidence has nothing to do with our capabilities, but it has everything to do with owning our stories. And what is that? Owning our truths, things that have happened to us. Okay. It's okay. Harassment, abuse, traumas, toxic relationships, toxic behaviors, the environments around us, our work environment, our family environment, okay? It's happening, it's around us, and it's around everybody, okay? So own it. It's your truth. Once you own it, then you're not scared, you're not guilty, you're proud of it. Yeah, it happened to me, that's okay. And that's why I'm not ashamed of it. And I'm learning how to figure it out. I'm learning how to be better at whatever I'm doing. Confidence has nothing to do with our personality types. We could be shy, we could be we could be not very intelligent, not very smart. We could not be very good looking outward appearance wise. We could not be very, academically strong, getting A grades all the time, so our personality type, maybe we're sensitive people, maybe we have a short temper, so these are all flaws that we have, and which everybody has. But confidence has nothing to do with that. Confidence has everything to do with owning our humanity. And what is that? Our humanness, that we are human, that it's okay to make mistakes, that we're learning, that it's okay to cry, that it's okay to feel the pain. It reminds us, when I am feeling low, it reminds me that I'm human, I'm not a robot. When I feel pain, it reminds me that I'm human, I'm not a machine. And so it's okay. And I can cry today and stand back up tomorrow. Right? I can feel the pain today, but I can put, a first aid on it tomorrow and be out running. Confidence has nothing to do with our future. We think that confident people are people who have things figured out for the future, but it has everything to do with our past. Right? People think, oh, you want to become a good doctor, you have to be confident so that you're able to go out and you're able to work with your patients confidently. No, your confidence will come how you were treated in the past. Okay, how people have picked you up and what you think of yourself. So now this is the activity that I'm going to do with all of you. Okay, and for that, what I want you to do is sit back, relax, literally, okay? This is an experience that I'm going to make you go through. And that's why I had asked for 2 hours for this training. Finding a time in our life when we felt on top of the world. Okay, so what are we working on? We're working on the first shift, which is feeling low self-confidence. We're trying to boost that up. And how can we do that? First thing we can do is we find a time in our life and we were very confident. And I'm sure you can come up with a time. I'm sure there must be a time in your life where you felt very good about yourself, where people appreciated you, acknowledged you. Maybe a time when you got good grades, maybe a time when people celebrated a certain success you had, maybe a time when you did something nice and kind for somebody, right? Can you find a time in your life when you were very confident? And I want you to think of that time. And I want you to close your eyes and go back to that time. So for me, for example, yes, I know when I got into med school and I applied in 5 medical schools and I got into all 5 of them. I got admission in all 5 of the medical schools I had applied in. That was a moment, the best moment for me. And right now, if I think of it, the feeling that I'm developing, the elation, I can feel it in my body, the pride that I had. I can see the people around me, the pride that they had, my family, my parents, my friends, my siblings, my aunts and my uncles, And so on the days when I feel low, on the days when I feel like a failure, and I feel I can't do things, I go back and think of that time and bring all that emotion in. Recreate that story. So instead of thinking of all the bad times when I had low self-confidence, I'm thinking of the times when I felt very confident and very proud of myself. And bring it back into my mind, bring it into my conscious memory. Dig it out, the positive memories. And so it's a reminder, if I could do it once, I can do it again. If I could do it twice, I can do it again. There was once upon a time when I was very strong. There was once upon a time when I could speak my mind. There was once upon a time when I had the ability to say no to people. There was once upon a time when people looked up to me. And so if it could happen once, it can happen again. Bring that back, bring that emotion back. Number 2 thing, find another human being with similar flaws and struggles as you. So can you come up with somebody? A person who's living or dead, somebody you know personally or knew personally, maybe a parent, a grandparent, a teacher, a mentor, a neighbor, a friend, or maybe somebody you don't know personally, and a celebrity maybe, a businessman, somebody you know, somebody you've read about, somebody from the history, okay? Anybody that you look up to and you felt you were like them. And you felt, you wished that you had the confidence they had. You wished you had the success they had. And when you think of that person, bring that person next to you, okay? So now you're imagining yourself. For me, for example, I've imagined that a 19-year, 20-year-old girl who got admission in the 5 universities. And now I'm bringing that other person who I look up to, and I'm bringing that person, he's standing next to me now, he or she. And so now I have these 2 people in front of me who are my role models. So this is me in my past when I was very confident. On the right, and on the left is this person who who is very confident, who is very successful, who the whole world appreciates and acknowledges and celebrates. But you know that once upon a time, they had similar struggles as you. Once upon a time, they were young. Once upon a time, they did fail. Once upon a time, they were bullied. Once upon a time, they were harassed. They did have a difficult childhood. They did have some kind of trauma in their life. But they were able to cross all that and become who they are right now. And they still have the struggles. There still are days when the newspaper is full of controversy against them. There still are days where you will go and you will find on social media people bashing them, people trolling them, people saying bad things about them, bad things about how they look, how they talk, how they dress, or they're picking on something they did in the past, one wrong decision they made in the past, and they keep on saying, oh, this person, he did this evil thing 20 years ago, and they keep bringing it up and again and again and again, just because they don't want to acknowledge that, yeah, he made a mistake 20 years ago and it's okay. He learned from it. He's changed. People can change. He's become a different person. So why are we still talking about the mistake he made 20 years ago, right? And so you and that celebrity are similar. We're learning from our flaws. And when you compare these two people, it changes your perspective. You see this other person, successful person, who had similar struggles as you are having right now, but they were able to overcome it. And so now you look at yourself and you see, yes, you had it in you as a child. And so you can learn from it and you can become better. So that was your past, a positive past. And this person is your future, your positive future. You have it in you. Okay? It helps change your perspective of yourself. And it makes you understand that grass on our side is as green as it is on the other side. Okay? The other person who we see as successful, who we see smiling and happy and enjoying life and being confident and being able to do things, his struggles and my struggles are same. But he's putting in an effort to make it green, and so can you. He didn't have a better quality grass or a fertilizer, or he didn't have a better quality of water or a better quality of sun to provide to his garden. He had the same 24 hours. He had the same body, maybe different, maybe even worse than yours. Maybe he had some physical health issue. Maybe he had other struggles which were worse than yours. Maybe he was an orphan. Maybe his parents divorced while you had your parents alive. Maybe he didn't go to the best of schools you went to. Right? But they've made their grass green, and so can you. Right? So this is an activity that it's an experience. And when I work with clients one-on-one, it's a whole experience we have you go through. We have you come up with those times and with those people. So let's see, what's the result of when you do this activity? And this is just one example, one activity. You get hope. You become hopeful. So that feeling of hopelessness that I can't do it, it's not possible, it's not meant for me. Oh, they could do it, I can't do it. No, if they could do it, you can do it too. You just have to find means to do it. It helps you give a positive mindset. Get out of the negative mindset. You have the knowledge and the skills and the resources. You just have to make use of them. And if you don't have them, you have to go find them. They're there. They're as much available for you as they are for other people. All the resources are out there. It's just a matter of you going out and getting them and finding them. Okay? Self-awareness. It allows you to see within yourself what's holding you back, right? And of course, it helps you overcome internal conflict. The conflict of I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I don't have it in me. Well, you have it in you. If you could do it once or twice in your past, and if you were a confident person before you got married, or before you had that job, or before you got that divorce, and now you're struggling because of certain situations, and it's okay. You can come out of it. You can make it better. Shift 2, overcoming the perfectionist mindset. Okay? And what is perfectionism? I personally believe there is no perfectionism. We strive for excellence over perfectionism, because how do we define perfection? What's our parameter? What's our paradigm? Say, I define, like, if I achieve this particular success, this particular degree of education, or this much amount of money, or this much happiness, and once you achieve it, what's next? Once you achieve your goal, you can still become better. And when you become better than that, then of course you've become better than perfect. Okay, but once you achieve that, you can again become better than that. You see, you always have the choice and an option to become better and better and better. So where's that perfectionist point? There is no perfectionism, because you can always become better. So then what are we trying to strive for? We're not trying to strive for the best, for perfectionism. We're trying to strive for excellence. And what does that mean? We're trying to do our best, the best we can do within our capacity, with our capabilities, with our strengths, with the resources that we have. So say if I have $10 to go and get something for myself, or for my daughter, or for my husband, or for my parent, I'm going to go and spend the $10 and buy the best thing that I can afford in that $10. And that's the best thing I can do. I spent all of my $10 and I have no more money left. But if somebody has $100 and they choose to spend $10 to buy a gift for their loved one, then and they had the opportunity to go and spend 20, 30, 40, even 90, even $100. And they didn't. So that, so it's just an example to say that you define your own excellence. You define your own moments, your own success, right? My success can be different. For me, maybe making enough money that my kids are going to a good school, making enough money that I'm able to, have a vacation once a year, that I'm living in a good enough house, I have good enough cars, and that my needs are being taken care of. Maybe that's enough for me. I've defined that, and it's okay. And so I'm striving for that. But maybe for other people, it's not. Maybe other people want to have better health. a bigger house. They want to have a better business. They want to have a bigger family. So then you have to strive for it, right? So you strive within your means, and you strive for the best within your means. You have to fill your own cup before filling others. This is so important. You know, the people-pleasing thing, you know, we think that people who are perfect have to just serve others. We're going to do it for others, or we're not going to do it at all. And so, no, that's not true. You have to first take care of yourself. Okay? You have to take pride in your mistakes, because learning is in doing. You can say no, it's not selfish. So we have to let go of this mindset that saying no means that we're denying them something, other people something, some pleasure or some benefit. You can say no. It's your right. And it's okay to make mistakes, because you learn by making mistakes. So what was my struggle with perfectionist mindset? This is big for me, okay? I was a perfect child, you know, I was good in my academics, you know, I was very friendly and outgoing, kind and helpful. And of course, when you're kind and helpful and you're sensitive, then you're naive too, you're innocent. And guess what? This good nature of mine, it made me very vulnerable. It made me vulnerable to prying eyes. I could never take a stand for myself, because I always felt the need to be good, to be perfect for other people, to serve other people. I never learned to set boundaries. I was never taught how to regulate my emotions during challenging times, because I was this good, happy person, and I would never have challenging times. I grew up in a very protected environment. My parents gave me everything. They provided me the love and the protection that I needed. And they never taught me that there could be days when you will not have it all. There will be days where people will take advantage of you. There will be days when you won't be able to do what you want to do, because it's going to be beyond you. I never knew failure, hardship, and fear, which actually exists in the real world out there. And I always tried to live up to the world's expectation of me. Or so I thought, that I am this perfect, flawless, good child. And that was a false belief. That was a limiting belief, that I am a perfect, flawless, good child, because it didn't allow me to grow. The day I realized that I am not perfect, and that I have flaws, and that it's okay not to be good all the time, and it's okay to make mistakes, it allowed me to grow. Right? So what's the thing that you do? It's a self-limiting beliefs. And this is very, very powerful. Look into yourself and look into what's limiting you. What are your own self-limiting beliefs? And once you understand that, what's limiting you, you become a student for life. You start seeing the potential in you. You heal. You're able to set boundaries. You honor yourself. People will honor you when you honor yourself. You know what's important for you. That comes first, filling your own cup. If you keep giving, people will take. If you will never learn to ask or withhold something for yourself, people will take. So you have to understand what's important for you. You have to step away from everything that pulls you down, that takes you away from your dream, that takes you away from what you want to do and be and achieve. And that's power. Okay, So again, now we're doing the activity. How do we do it? And again, this is again a huge NLP process that almost takes over an hour when I do with my clients, but I'm going to try to briefly do it with you. So sit back on your chair, relax, take a deep breath, feel your surrounding around you, let your heart rate slow down, and just acknowledge that you're here. Okay. And now imagine that the struggles that you have in your life are not there anymore. Have a clean slate in your mind. And when you do that, so you're removing whatever the fears or whatever those thoughts are that come in between you and your goals. Okay. And now, once you're able to do that, I want you to identify what you want. And this has to be stated in positive. Okay. And this is something which is actually opposite your limiting belief. For example, in my case, my limiting belief was actually at some point that because I'm vulnerable, I'm sensitive, I'm emotional, and I crumble with a lot of stress, with overwhelm. So maybe I cannot become a good doctor, and that mindset, that perfectionist mindset of all or none. Either if I be a perfect doctor, then I have to have everything in control, or I don't become a doctor at all. That's it. Okay. This was my limiting belief about myself. And so when I identified what I wanted, which my future is, that I wish, because this was my dream to go out and help people, and I've learned the skills, I've been trained, I've gone to medical school, I've learned, I've become a doctor, I've achieved it all. But now going out in the field and practicing, this fear of me not being able to do it is holding me back. That's my limiting belief. And so I'm identifying, but I want to do this. This is what I want to do. I want to be able to go out and put myself out there because I have the knowledge, I have the skills, and I have the passion to do it. This is what I always saw. This was my future. This was my dream. This was my parents' dream. So identify it and state it in positive. And why are we talking about stating it in positive? Because a lot of times what happens is we identify things which we don't want. For example, people will say, oh, I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be unhappy. I don't want to fight. I don't want to, have self-doubt or low self-confidence. I don't want to be fearful. I don't want to have a panic attack, say. These are things you don't want. But do you know what you want instead? Can you identify what you want instead? No. And that's what you have to know. What is it that you want? What is your definition of happiness, peace, success? You need to have that figured out first before you start moving towards it. Okay? Before we talk about why we're not going there, before we talk about what's stopping us, first have a goal. Right? Number 2, now I want you to see yourself in the mirror. Imagine that there's a mirror in front of you, and I want you to see yourself. And that can either be yourself as you are right now, or you can maybe see a child, maybe your own self, you as a child, your past, or maybe some other child, maybe your child, if you have children, maybe a neighbor's child, a niece, a nephew, or a friend, somebody you deeply care about, okay? Imagine anybody in that mirror in front of you. And what I want you to do is, I want you to see them as another person. So you're not them. You're here in this chair, and you're looking at that other person who's in front of you. It could be you yourself, or you yourself as a child, or somebody else you care about. And now imagine that they are in the state as you are. They're questioning themselves. They're questioning their worth. They're questioning their abilities. They are saying, I can't do it. They have these limiting beliefs. They have whatever the limiting belief you have about yourself, the person in front of you has that limiting belief. Okay? So the person in front of you that you're seeing is basically the person who has the limiting belief as you. And what would you tell them now? What would you tell the child standing in front of you who's questioning his self-worth, who's saying, I can't do it, it's not possible, it's very hard, I don't know how to do it? What will you tell them? What will you advise them? How will you mentor them? How will you motivate them? Will you tell them, oh, you can do it? Yeah, continue crying. Continue staying stuck. Will you tell them, no, you're right. You stay home, just take care of your kids. That's it. That's all you're meant to do. You're meant to just be born, and that's it. Tell them what you want in life, that goal that you created, right? And what will you advise them how to get there? Okay? Just do it. Take your time. What will you tell them? When you're doing this, what are you doing? You're actually telling yourself. You see, when a child makes a mistake, when your child makes a mistake in school, comes home, they fail, they get a C grade, do you, for the rest of your life, continue reminding them, hey, you failed, hey, you're a loser, hey, you can't do this, hey, you're a dumb person? No. You encourage them. You tell them it's okay. You find a tutor for them. You get them the help. You go and talk to the teacher. You try to find help for them. You try to figure out how to help them become better. Right? If a child breaks something in front of you, do you continue reminding them for the rest of their life that you broke this beautiful, pot of mine? No. It's okay. You broke something. Just be mindful next time. Just be careful next time. Don't play near a delicate object, right? That's what you would do. So why are we not doing that to ourselves? And so when you see yourself in the mirror and when you advise them, you're actually advising yourself that, hey, Hina, you're being stupid by saying that you cannot be a doctor, whereas you are a doctor. You're being stupid when you're questioning that you cannot go and help out people, whereas you can. You need to just get out of that head, that limiting belief that you can't do it. Yes, it's okay you had depression. Yes, it's okay you had a difficult time settling down. You got married. You had kids. You had postpartum depression. You were alone. It's okay. You took your time, and it's okay to take your time. You can still take more time. Take as much time as you want. But don't say that you can't do it. If you can't do it now, do it tomorrow, do it day after tomorrow, do it after 5 months. Right now, if you have a baby and you can't study, give this time to your baby. When the baby is old enough, take out time for yourself. It's okay. You don't have to let go of your dreams. That's what I would tell other people, right? If that's what I would tell other people, why am I not telling that to myself? Right? And the third thing is modeling excellence, which is walking in other people's shoes. So again, are there other people like me? Is there any other doctor like me? Any other woman doctor like me? Any other woman doctor who had clinical depression? Any other woman doctor who was abused? Any other woman doctor who has PTSD? I'm sure I will find tons of them. How did they do it? What did they do? I'm sure you can find somebody who is similar like you. But according to you, what you see is that they're doing very well in life. Once you go and you speak to them and you look at their life story, life history, you will figure out that they don't have it all figured out. They're struggling just like you're struggling, right? But still, they're doing it. They're doing it slowly and steadily. And to the world out there, it looks like they're the most successful people in the world. And so if they can do it, you can do it too. What is the third shift? Let's talk about the third shift. Overcoming intrusive thoughts and memories. Very common symptom of PTSD. Okay. You can have anxiety, phobias, panic attacks, nightmares and flashbacks, racing thoughts, hypervigilance, which is being overprotective, of yourself. This is all part of the intrusive thoughts and memories. Okay, that's what these intrusive thoughts and memories cause. And then what's the end result? Dysfunctional relationships and self-destructive behaviors. We don't realize it. And why is it happening? Because all of these negative thoughts and memories that our mind is full of, it's overstimulating our 5 sensory perceptions. Right now, you're sitting in front of this computer or your phone watching this, and all of a sudden you get triggered and you go back into a memory, a negative memory, and you're reliving it, and all of your senses are engaged. When you have a panic attack, all of your senses are engaged. When you have an anxiety attack, all of your senses are engaged. So again, these are things that I have experienced personally: night terrors, frequent mood swings, postpartum depression, hypervigilance, loss of focus and concentration, sleep disorders. There have been times where I've slept too much, and there have been times where I've slept too little. I don't sleep at all. Low self-esteem, being such an outwardly confident person. I mean, probably you guys are watching me, and when you look at me, you say, oh, she's such a confident girl. Or look at her. She's a fighter, and look, she's doing it all. And a lot of people see that in me. A lot of people, when they look at me, they go like, Hina, you're doing so many things. But they don't understand my internal struggles. They probably do, but they don't know. Right? So we all have our struggles. They don't know my struggles in my house. They don't know my struggles with my partner. They don't know my struggles with my kids. They don't know my struggles in the society. They don't know my past. They don't know how I grew up. They don't know what I faced. All they see is a smiling face. Right? And so, yes, it is this face that I put out, because I'm fighting every day. I'm fighting myself every day. to achieve my goal, which is to help other people, to become a doctor. I'm not working as a doctor now, but I am doing something similar. And when I'm doing coaching, it's something very similar. It takes me back to my roots. It makes me feel like a doctor, right? Emotional numbing and betrayal trauma. Betrayal trauma is history of betrayal trauma, okay? And betrayal trauma messes up with your mind. So what's the activity to do when you have intrusive thoughts and memories, okay? So as we talked about yesterday, if you haven't listened to my yesterday's training on PTSD, go back and listen to it. Every thought or memory is a story, okay? So just sit back right now, and whatever intrusive thought or memory that you have, bring it forward. And I'm sure it's going to be a negative memory, okay? And then what I want you to do is, I want you to see it as a movie. So imagine there's a television in front of you. And so I want you to go inside that, and I want to see I want you to see yourself in that movie. Okay. It's a movie, a 2-hour movie, 90-minute film that you're watching of yourself. And then visualize it. Visualize that whole painful memory that you have, or that flashback that you have, or that thought that you have in front of you. And you'll be amazed that you will be able to see yourself. You'll be able to see colors. You're going to be able to hear voices, maybe you talking to yourself. Maybe you can hear other people talking to you, what he said, what she said, what they said. Maybe you can hear some background, something fell. Maybe you can hear, maybe you can, smell something around that's happening, the food. Okay, maybe there's some taste that's coming up in your mind. Okay, you have sensations outwardly, physical sensations, as well as inward sensations. Okay, maybe you're getting tensed up. You're developing a headache, or you feel some pressure on your shoulders, back of your neck. Chest, your chest is tightening, shortness of breath. Your hands are becoming cold, clammy. Your vision is becoming blurry. So whenever you have that flashback, everything that happens, everything that you see, what are you seeing? Are you seeing yourself alone in that flashback? Or are you seeing other people in it? Is somebody saying something to you, doing something to you, screaming at you, bullying you, harming you? What are they doing? What do you see? What's that painful past? Put it in that movie in front of you. Put it all in the movie. And I want you to dissociate yourself, which means what? I want you to come out of that movie and come and sit on the chair you're in. Okay? And so now you have this movie running in which, say, there is this Jennifer Aniston, which is you, or there's this Angelina Jolie, or there's this Brad Pitt, which is you, and they're having the same experience, bad experience that you had. So it's your memory, it's your flashback, it's your thought, but it's happening to that character in the movie. And they're undergoing the same painful experience. And so when you dissociate and you look at that movie, or if you're a reader, you can even do it as a book, that you're reading a book, and you're reading a character, a story, and you're reading about this book, and you're a character in that book. Okay. And now, since you have it in front of you as a movie, and so you're just audience now. So you're not in the movie anymore, you're audience. Okay. And so naturally you can have the similar emotion? Because when you watch a movie, sometimes you cry with the characters, sometimes you laugh with the characters, you become angry with the characters, but still you know you're not them, right? You're watching a movie. And once you do that, now I want you to look at that movie, and maybe if you see there's movement in it, it's like a movie, it's a moving movie, pause it. What will happen? Just pause it. If it was, do you see colors? Bright colors, light colors, dark colors? Is it colorful or is it black and white? Change that. If it was already black and white, if what you imagined was black and white, put color in it. Do it consciously. You're changing it. If it was colored and it was bright, coming to your face, make it black and white. Make it blurry. Okay. Change some the sound effects into it. Did you hear any sounds originally? What were the sounds that you were hearing? Can you mute it? Can you add in your favorite song? Do you have a favorite song, a nice song that you like to hear? A good music, something that lightens your mood. Why don't you put that in the movie? And now see that movie happening with that music in the background. What changes? What changes in the story when you put in that music? And if there was some music before, maybe some dark music, maybe some banging, maybe something else, maybe some sighing, heaving, maybe people screaming, shouting, maybe you guys talking to each other, 2 people, 3 people shouting, screaming, right? Change that. Change the quality of those sounds. Either mute them or change the quality. Imagine, say, if you're somebody screaming at you or talking to you and you hear people making fun of you, bullying you, and that's your memory. Imagine it in the voice of a Donald Duck. So imagine that toxic person speaking to you, but the voice that's coming is Donald Duck, or it's Goofy, or it's SpongeBob. SpongeBob is talking. What will happen? You change the dynamic of that story, of that whole emotion, of that whole moment. The sensations involved, right? Maybe add people in it who make you feel secure. So I've had clients who were insecure in the company of their parents, and so they had bad memories with their parents, but they felt secure with their grandparents. So I had them, okay, why don't you bring your grandmother into that movie? She's standing next to you. Why don't you kick those toxic people out of the room that you're seeing, and you bring in your grandmother there? How does that make you feel? Somebody wanted to bring in their pet because they felt secure in front of with their pets. Bring in your pet. See, the pet is with you. Why don't you imagine your pet is trying to hug you? You're hugging your pet. You're patting your pet dog or pet cat that you have. What changes? Your whole emotion changes. That whole memory changes. You changed your memory. Right? And this is one of the trauma works that we do. We're consciously incorporating stuff in it to make it pleasant, so that next time when it comes back, and say you think of it again, or if you see that person again, or if a trigger happens and now you're going to have that panic attack, you're going to get angry or upset, or you're going to shut down. In your mind, you just, okay, change the voice to Donald Duck. In your mind, you're doing it. Oh, imagine your dog is next to you. Imagine your grandmother is next to you. I've had people in the movie, what they do is you put them imagine those people who bullied you, put them in a rocket ship and imagine sending them off to Mars. And I did this with one of my clients. She was so happy. she was like now, and the person she was talking about was a living person. And so now every time she's about to meet that person who gives her anxiety. So in her mind, she would just put her in that rocket ship and send her to Mars. And so emotionally, she was checking out. And so she would go like, okay, I've sent her to Mars. She's not there. And so even though the person would come and sit in front of her, talk to her, whatever, but emotionally, she's detached. Emotionally, she's not getting anxious. Emotionally, she's not getting upset, whatever the other person is saying, because in her mind, she's like, oh, okay, she's not here. She's in Mars. And when you do this multiple times, you practice it and you choose what the edits, as you like, that will change the story, that will change the visual, and that will change the narration to your liking. And you do it so many times that next time it happens, you automatically want to do it, because you don't want to have that negative emotion anymore. And this is beautiful. I actually love this. When I first learned this, I was skeptical. I was like, really? We can do that? We can change our memories? It's a real memory. Something really happened. How can you change it? And you can, because now every time I think of the people hurting me, who had hurt me, and I put in anything in there, anything funny in there, or I change their face, or I put in colors in it, and it just gives me peace of mind and peace of heart that that memory is no more bothering me. And when I think of that memory, I chuckle, I laugh, I go like, oh wow, I'm playing with inside my mind. So you will notice that your emotional state and your behaviors will change automatically when you make these edits. Isn't it fascinating? So, and there are very specific NLP processes for every behavior change that you want, such as phobias. There's a specific process for that. Creating new habits, replacing triggers with positive anchors, there's a process for it. Changing your beliefs about yourself. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, it's not possible. Why can't I do it? What's stopping me? I don't have the skill set. What if my parents don't allow me? What if my husband doesn't allow me? What will happen? All these limiting beliefs that we have, that we've created, right? There's a process for it. And it helps us move from an unresourceful state to a more resourceful state of self. So, why do people take time to heal? Because it's a process. People want answers in seconds. People want healing in seconds. They go and do one session with the therapist and it be all gone. No, it doesn't happen that way. Sometimes it takes months, sometimes it takes years, and sometimes it takes a lifetime. And it's okay, because it's your life. There are people who are currently living in toxic situations, okay? If their own parents or their own children are toxic, they can't just kick them out of their life. And although you have a choice. Of course you can, but some people don't think that's the right thing to do. And so then how do you cope with it? So you have to learn to manage it, and it's a lifelong process. Because you've chosen to live with that toxic person. Okay? So you never completely heal, but you adapt to it. That's very important. That you adapt, you learn, you accept it, you own it. Okay, I've owned my traumas. They're part of me, and I'm not ashamed of them. When I share my story to give you hope and show you that there is a way. And there is a way without fighting. There's a way without breaking relationships. There's a way without breaking yourself down. So you have to adapt. You have to find means. Okay. People take time to heal because of the guilt and the shame, the victim mindset. Okay. That I somehow deserve what happened to me or is happening to me. And when they're in the victim mindset, they think that they're going to get undue attention, It doesn't work. Once you grow up, it doesn't work. People take time to heal because they don't know what they want, right? They're stuck in a situation. They can't get out of it because they can't define that once they get out of that situation, where will they go? What will they do? So they need to know that. Venting and journaling can be partly cathartic. This is my take on it. A lot of people say, Kelly the other day talked about it too. Journaling is very good because you're able to dump your emotions in it. But again, you have to be mindful and intentional with your journaling, because for me, before, as a teenager or as a younger person, when I used to journal, I didn't find it cathartic, because what I was doing was I was repeating the stories and reliving them. He said this, she said this is what happened to me, I feel this way, I wish I could do this, and when I'm sharing my stories, I'm writing it down, I'm reliving them, I'm torturing myself. That's what I used to do, and I didn't find that, and then I stopped doing it, because I was like, why am I doing this? I wasn't dumping out my feelings, I was actually holding on to them, and by writing them down, I was kind of solidifying the fact that this happened to me. But now, recently, I've started journaling again, but with the intention that I'm going to be talking about, this is how I feel, this is what happened to me, but how do I want to overcome it? What are the steps I need to do to prevent the consequences that are going to happen because of whatever happened? How do I prevent the consequences? How do I prevent it getting how do I prevent it from getting worse? Okay. So again, this is me. This was something that I figured out for myself. And so when I figured out that this is what journaling was doing to me, so then I figured out a way how to make it work for me. And instead of it being a journey of torment, it becomes a journey of figuring out how to find a solution, right? And then need implementable tools to incorporate to break away from negative habits. This is why people take time, because they don't know what to do, and I was like that too, and even right now, you know what you want, but you don't know how you're all the time asking, I want to do this, I want to get this, how do I do it? They don't have the tools, they don't have the skills. Okay. And that is something that we need to go and figure out. We need to learn, we need to educate ourselves. Okay. So I think we're on time. I'm happy about that. I am excited to present Heal with Hina Coaching Intensive. Okay. It is an accelerated hybrid coaching program. And by hybrid, I mean it's a group as well as one-on-one coaching program that uses specialized NLP methods that can help you overcome fear, guilt, and resentment so you can lead a positive, more resourceful life. What is included in it? So there are 4 price points that are included in this one Heal with Hina Coaching Intensive. I am offering my NLP Trauma Works for PTSD, which is 1-hour training, along with a 60-minute one-on-one coaching session, for which I charge $67 right now. Okay. And it will include my 6-week confidence building intensive and my 6-week emotional safety intensive. These are things that I offer separately, but I'm including it all. And so the total value you can see is $1,100. All right. And if you decide to join today and get the support that I can offer to you, you will get all 4 of these, which is the NLP Trauma Works for PTSD, the 60 to 90-minute catharsis session, the 12-week confidence building and emotional safety intensive, 6 weeks for confidence building and 6 weeks for emotional safety, and all of it at a 46% discount. Okay. And this is what my clients have said. These are my clients who I've actually worked with. Dawn lives here in Fresno. She is actually a teacher. Then I have Neva. She's also here in Clovis. These are 2 people who are here locally where I live. Okay. And then I have Hanan. He is actually from Pakistan. He was a student. He is actually a medical student, and I helped him out. He was having a lot of issues at home with his parents, with his families, a lot of things that were holding him back. And then I have another lady, Ali, and I helped her figure out her issues as well. And these are just a few. I've helped over 50 clients. Okay, so if you decide to join in the next week or so, what will you get? Okay, what will you learn in 12 weeks? You will be able to overcome self-doubt and negative self-talk. You will be able to work through your phobias, your fears. You will be able to create new behaviors. I'm going to teach you how to create new behaviors. And so once you learn the methodology, you can apply it with any behavior. You can teach it to other people. You can teach it to your kids. You can teach it to your spouse, right? Because as I said, these are methodologies. It's a skill set that you're learning. You're able to learn to set boundaries. Again, it's a methodology you will learn. Once you are able to learn that, you can apply it to yourself. You can apply it on other people as well. Okay, and of course, manage intrusive memories and flashbacks, because all of this is part of feeling confident and emotionally secure. I am so confident that these 12 weeks will have such a profound effect on you that you will live happy and confident with tools and methods that you can use on yourself and your family members. These tools teach you how to overcome a negative resourceful state and enter a positive resourceful state of self. Imagine what your emotional and mental state will be in the next 3 months if you take action now. So just a recap. Remind me what I get if I join today. NLP Trauma Works for PTSD. It's a 1-hour training. A one-on-one 60 to 90-minute introductory catharsis session where we get to know each other. You tell me what your issues are so that I have an idea, a 12-week, which is 3-month confidence building and emotional safety intensive, in which you will have 2 group teaching and 2 one-on-one private coaching sessions, which will be confidential, in which I will be working one-on-one with you with your own personal issue. And then, of course, this special offer of 46% discount is ending on 12 February. Okay, so if you are ready to make a difference in your life, go ahead, schedule your call with me. The Calendly link is mentioned here. It's also present above this training in the Facebook group. I have emailed it out to you as well. It's present on my Facebook group. It's present on my personal Facebook profile. Reach out to me, schedule this talk so we can talk one-on-one and figure out how I can best help you. All right. Thank you very much. Any questions? Let's see. All right, thank you. People are here. I am going to be reading your messages now, okay? So I'm here. Hello, Daphne Cooper. It's okay to cry. Of course, it's okay to cry. And be proud, okay? And this is for men too. Be proud. You're human. Celebrate being a human. I remember the season of my life when I was celebrated. There you go. And that's what you have to remember. You have to remember the positive times. Those days were welcoming and well worth the experience I had. Yes, I can definitely find that person. I'm not afraid of being vulnerable with this person. Learning from my mistakes. Inner child needs healing. Okay, this is what you need help with. Taking care of myself first. I can say no. My cup needs filling. Learning isn't doing. Oh, I believe you're writing down everything that you liked from this. I'm setting boundaries now for myself. Oh my goodness, Daphne, I love it. Love this. I'm so proud of you. Not feeling guilty about stepping back. Honor my higher self. Daphne, I definitely need to speak with you. I'm so proud of you. All right, Daphne, that was great. I am so happy. Kudos to you. Okay, so who is here on Zoom? I believe we have one person on Zoom. Do you have any question? Okay, you can write it in the chat. And Daphne, if you're still watching or if somebody else is still watching, if you have a question for me, we have another 5, 10, 15 minutes, I believe, till we wrap up. So if anybody has any questions, let me know and I'm going to answer it right now. All right, I believe that's about it. So whoever will be watching the replay of this, I would love to get a feedback from what you learned. I would love to get a feedback of how the whole 4 or 5, 6-day experience was. Of course, I started Monday with my introductory session. And I would love you to reach out to me, okay? The Calendly link is there, schedule, and let's talk. Take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.